Okay, we're live. We are in the Moose Medicine Show Radio Moose Mobile, still at Celtic Connections. First broadcast of the day. Not every day starts with a Malcolm MacWatt session, but today does. I know it's the cracking and everything, and we're well into the afternoon, but that's the way of things at festivals. Right. And thanks for joining us, guys, and thank you, Malcolm.
No, thank you, Rob.
So today I want to talk about the honour of being invited to do the Danny Cowell stage today, and you'll be on live on radio with that. Well, it's a flying visit because that album of yours is flying, basically.
It's doing great.
It's doing great.
Well, I have to say I'm pretty gratified with how it's gone down so far.
Aye. Well, so let's talk about that. There's some milestone stuff going on at the moment for Malcolm MacWatt, I have to say. Not just being in the Moose again. I have to add that in just for my own, just for my own satisfaction. But it is always a pleasure. And you're a friend of the Medicine Show. It's gone way back.
Aye.
For those who don't know, regular viewers might. Malcolm and I worked when you were about band. 18 or something, and I was in my 20s. And I sent you out on all these crazy fishermen's pubs out across the north of Scotland.
Brilliant fun. Yeah.
With
the making of me.
With a crate of beer and a tenant spanner.
Yeah, fantastic. Great days, actually.
Yeah. Just, somebody actually sent me some archive material of some of those press clippings today. Well, Fash did today, so I'm going to post all of that. But it's nice. It's nice to have that memory. It's nice also to reconnect with yourself. We're going to talk about the album. Have you got a song from the album? Is that
You
fancy doing that for us? Malcolm MacWatt, live in the Moose, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us. There is a chat frame, so if you have any questions, just hopefully it'll get through to the studio. Sometimes the comments doesn't actually work here, but I'll try and, if you drop me a message, I'll try and retrieve those at some point. Malcolm,
so I thought I'd do a song from up our part of the world, really, from Rosemarkie in the Black Isle. I read a little story about this girl called Eliza Junior, who's buried in the churchyard there, and it was actually went along to see her. She's got a lovely wee spot just overlooking the sea, and it's
I know where exactly
it's beautiful. And
I've not been.
Her dad was a plantation owner in Guyana.
Goodness.
Her mum was a was an unnamed slave. I don't know what her name was. And Dad brought her and her brother over when they were kids, and so she sort of grew up and was schooled in Rosemarkie. She did quite well with her life, and I've sort of I think we're in a city of Glasgow that was, I suppose, it was built on slavery. At the same time, I'm also very proud of the fact that Glasgow was one of the first cities to come out against slavery. So it was but it's always a difficult sort of subject to deal with. So this song, I've never played it before. It's the first time I've ever done it.
I'm having it. It's an exclusive here on the Medicine Show. Wonderful.
I actually wrote it for a brilliant artist called Angeli Morrison, who did an amazing album last year, and I just had her in mind when I wrote this. So here we go. This is called Empire in Me.
Sorry, what's it called?
Empire in Me.
Okay.
I never saw you whipping your hand. I never heard you your command. Did the 60 poor people you won't show willing to do your bidding? I only knew the family man. You, Junior, my father, the family man. I never saw you at Lave Market. I never saw you as the devil incarnate. What did it feel like to bid for my mother? Did you love her? I only knew you as my own dear father. I only knew you as my father. Eliza, Eliza, Junior's my name. My father a Scotsman, my mother a slave. Black bodies toil beneath the Caribbean sun. I love my father, but I hate what he's done. I was born in Guyana, across the great sea, baptized in the church at Rosemarkie. In Edinburgh and London I looked through young minds. My life was fine, but I wondered if mother would be proud of me. I wondered if mother would be so proud of me. I heard Frederick Douglass speaking the borders with passion to free all his sisters and brothers, to abolish this cruel trade of ill-gotten gains, shackles and chains. Though I hope that I'm living free while my people suffer, I'm living free while my people suffer. Eliza, Eliza, Junior's my name. My father a Scotsman, my mother a slave. Black bodies toil beneath the Caribbean sun. I love my father, but I hate what he's done. So Father, I ask you, you look at me, am I flesh of your flesh, or your property? Does bondage and love ever be reconciled? Explain to your child as I try to live with you. the empire in me. A black British woman with the empire in me.
Stunning, great story. I mean, and in your usual way, you've managed to transpose yourself into the character of the person that all that affected so well.
Yeah, no, thanks. I mean, it's I think it's not one of these, not something I'd never even known about it if I hadn't. It was just one of these little stories that just came about. Really.
There's one in every town. I mean, there's a record of all the slaves that were the slave owners. Anyway, not all the slaves that were ever kept, but the slave owners when they got paid off when abolition came in. It wasn't the slaves that got the compensation. No. It was the slave owners that got the compensation.
The compensation was, I mean, it was by today's standards, it's into the trillions. You know, I mean, it's like, so it kind of made some families. I mean, you know, they're you know, I mean, I definitely don't believe in you know, delving too far back into the past and cancelling things and all that, but it's part of history, and I think it should be. I think it should be acknowledged. Yeah,
it should be indeed. Well, that acknowledges that particular story and the connection with the Highlands. Who people, I mean, Glasgow gets the rum end of the stick.
Indeed.
Really. I mean, there was a slave owner in Nairn. My own town.
Yeah.
She was a highly respected. I can't remember her name. Highly respected. Daughter of a plantation owner who got 2 slaves in her dowry when she married the minister in Nairn, and she kept them for pin money.
Well, the thing is, I mean, all these sort of things. I mean, Angeline Morrison's own history is Caribbean and Hebridean. So she is, you know, so she's got a bit of the Hebridean
and a human being as well.
You know, and you know, so it's cool.
Yeah. So and Scots went as indentured, and as much, nearly as badly as the slaves.
I mean, I think at least with an indentured, there was an out. There was an out eventually, but yeah. So, but no, I mean, it's all. I think that's always my issue. It's never. It's just a matter of, for me, it's always a matter of rich versus poor. I suppose it's what it is. It's kind of class and stuff.
You're right. So we're here in Glasgow, and the rich are all buried up in that grave.
Yeah. It's all the great and the good are up there.
I don't know if the where the poor are. And so Celtic Connections today, you've got it's an ideal opportunity to showcase your new album, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's like I think especially the album's very Scot centric.
It is.
I think I've found a whole load of interesting stories from the sort of darker corners of Scottish history, things that you don't normally teach you in school, you know. I mean, even the name of the whole album's name came from a clandestine sort of eco group calling itself the Dark Harvest Commando.
It's probably one of the first eco proactive eco groups.
And you know, and I think at that time, probably at the back of what they did was definitely fighting to make sure Scotland wasn't used as a dumping ground for nuclear waste, because that was very much on the cards, I remember, at the time. Well,
they'd almost exploded the first atomic bomb in Caithness.
No, I mean,
and then at the last minute, they decided that they would spend the extra money and explode it on somebody else instead.
I know.
Down in the South Seas near Australia. But valuable lessons learned, and we talked about this on from the Moose as well. I was actually at Anthrax Island where this actually went on. Give us a quick appraisal of what they did.
Aye, so
and then something from the album that might.
I might even just play that.
Okay.
So basically, in the early 40s, the Second World War wasn't going so well. Britain was a little bit concerned. Churchill thought they'd test this new, pretty a weaponized version of anthrax. I mean, anthrax has always been around a bit.
Yeah. So it's biological chemical warfare.
So they everything in secret. They went up to the island of Grignard or Grunard, literally just a mile off the coast between Liverpool and.
There's still a submarine base there.
Up in Gairloch, and they brought a bunch of sheep on. They exploded an anthrax bomb. They burned all the sheep, which all died horribly. Having said that, there was also quite a lot of sheep livestock that also died in the mainland. And I believe at the time, or actually later on, when they blamed Britain we were having a few arguments with Greece, and we blamed a Greek ship for dumping some carcasses of the water, but it was
smoke screen.
And everyone was sworn to secrecy. In the 80s, the government had decided for the Anthrax Island it was too expensive to clean it up. It was quarantined for most of my memory.
Childhood,
most of my memory.
My dad would point it out when we went by.
Well, it was. I mean, same thing for me. We drive past. I was always fascinated by this island, this part of Scotland that you couldn't go to. Mm-hmm. You couldn't step foot on, which I think it always kind of annoyed my dad, because we've always had that right to roam in Scotland, and then there's somewhere that you cannot go because it's
on pain of death.
Your
own death.
And then a group, I believe, maybe people from I think they're saying from one of the universities, went out and dug the soil up, and they deposited the soil at in Brighton at a Tory party conference, also again at Portendown, at the establishment itself, where they do all this stuff. Both were tested. They came up live. Yep, there was anthrax in them.
They also posted one in Blackpool Tower.
Okay. Yeah.
And they told the authorities it was there, but there was nothing in that one. So that was like the velvet glove and the iron fist.
Right.
So they forced the government to take notice of the problem.
And by the end of the 80s, the government eventually came up and cleaned the place up. They stripped a whole metre of soil off the top and decontaminated everything with formaldehyde or whatever it is that they use.
There's a nice decontaminate. Formaldehyde.
Yeah. I mean, funnily enough, it's safe enough to go on. I mean, the last time I actually passed Greenyard, it had just recovered from a massive fire. Which so everything was looking a bit scarred and scorched. But
and what I really love about that, being a Highlander myself, apart from the fact it succeeded and it was civil disobedience that actually succeeded in all of its aims, to this day, people know who they did, who the commandos were out there. But to this day, no one has revealed anybody.
Just one of the best kept secrets in Scotland, I think. It's amazing. So I think I might have a go at that.
Right, just before you do, if you don't mind, thanks for joining us, guys. You are in the Moose with Rob Ellen and Malcolm MacWatt. Sorry, Robin's name went up on the credits from last night. We had a lovely session. Lovely to catch up with Robin last night. He was opening up for Nick Harper, and a beautiful session with Nick Harper last night. I got a word with yesterday. I got a word with Robin last night, so those are on the page that you're viewing just now, all from Celtic Connections. Malcolm, this is just kind of impromptu, and thank you as popping in before his gig this evening. You're going to do an exclusive one as well for our patrons, and we do thank everybody for viewing, of course, and for liking the shows, and all the shares and all that stuff really helps get the word out about this fabulous music and helps the musicians that we love as well. But particularly for the Moose, if you are able to donate, there is a QR code at the top of your screen just now, and we thank particularly our most recent patrons for joining us, and Patreon memberships. We've had one or two from Celtic Connections, which is lovely, and I met two people that were viewing the show last night at the gig last night, and that was a thrill. So this is going out to you guys, and Malcolm is going to do an exclusive track for the Patreon members as well. What are you going to do for them before you do this?
Oh God, I don't
Dark
know.
Harvest? You haven't thought about it yet.
I'll
That'll be a surprise for us all.
Yeah.
So thanks for
not
introducing
at all.
that
No.
so beautifully. Good luck with the album.
Thank you very much, Rob.
It is now actually available in
everywhere
in all digital formats from all the places that you will get your music from. And what's best for you particularly if people want to buy the album?
If they wanted some CD and stuff, Bandcamp.
Can't praise them high enough. They stuck by the artists all the way through.
Unfortunately, I think Bandcamp they've been taken over again by the money. Yeah. They've been sold on to another company, and so they've already lost half of their staff have been paid off. So I think I mean, what I'm hoping for maybe is that maybe some of the people within the half of the Bandcamp lot have been paid off might start something else. You know, that's the one thing with these things. I think you can't hold down, you can't hold good people down. At the end of the day, I think I love Bandcamp, and I'm really sorry this big change is on the cards. You know, because they did or they still do.
They held to the independent artists all the way through. That is alarming. Okay, the song
called title, Dark Harvest.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a song called Dark Harvest.
Title track of the album.
Yeah, I was incredibly lucky to have Nathan Bell. He's a brilliant American.
Saw you were touring with me.
Yeah, a brilliant American guy. He's become a good friend. I like Nathan. He's a political animal, and he was very gracious. He agreed to do a scope, like a spoken word, and also he actually played all the guitars in the actual track. I think he's a big fan of the Corys as well as me, and so he played this amazingly great guitar. He's a great guitar part. So I'm just going to sort of approximate what was done there, really. So this is Dark Harvest.
Beautiful.
On the road from Ullapool to Gairloch, on Scotland's western shore, there lies a wee dark island where seeds of death were sown. In Gruinar's lonely silence, war crimes were conceived, for clouds of doom, like a plague of Egypt, to float down on a German breeze. And men in masks from Portendown test bombs of mass destruction. Burned the sheep that died to prove the weapon worked, to Winston's satisfaction. Dark harvest, dark harvest, dark harvest, dark harvest. You reap what you sow from a dark harvest. I thank God the war was won, without biological warfare being deployed. The spores of death lay sleeping in the ground, in Gruinard's poisoned soil. The Scottish land lay quarantined, and deemed too dangerous to set foot on. too much expense, they said, to make it safe. So for decades, the land was forgotten. Until the dark harvest, the dark harvest, dark harvest, dark harvest. You reap what you sow from a dark harvest. Eco-terror, eco-warfare, call it what you will. But without their interaction, Grunard would be off limits still. They dug the soil and they sent a sample back from whence it came, and finally the government cleaned up the dirty secret mess it made. Now Grunard's safe for all to walk again, and Brad Island, the Isle of Death, no longer is her name. To this day, no one revealed the names of those compelled. But Grunard knows. Grunard keeps her secrets to herself. Dark Harvest, and here's to the Dark Harvest Commando. Who they were, well, only Grunard knows. Sometimes direct action is the only way to go, when dark forces rule and the powers that be ignore. One generation's terrorist, political prisoner, is the next generation's activist, politician. You reap what you sow from a dark harvest. You reap what you sow from a dark harvest. You reap what you sow. Thank you.
Amazing. That just gives me chills.
Thanks, man.
It gives me chills. That's Malcolm MacWatt. The new album is entitled Dark Harvest. It is available. Please do check it out at the very least. If you can, go to Bandcamp and get a copy for yourself. That's going to become a classic album. I think this is
Nice
it's certainly moving that way.
No, I hope so. I mean, it's I think it's a difficult times for musicians at the moment. So
yeah,
there's I think the old days of making any money, I think they're long gone. So I mean, I'm just happy enough to make music that I think is will be hopefully part of the Scottish conversation. It's that's
and hopefully the money comes and goes, but the life remains constant. And you're there. You're in Glasgow. Here we are.
No, it's true.
In Glasgow to sing that song, the home of so much activism in the world as well, and we touched on the slavery aspect of it. Activism to almost exactly 105 years to the day tomorrow that the last time the Riot Act was, and that line particularly about the activists of today will be the politicians of tomorrow.
Aye.
Manny Shinwell was arrested that day. It was the Battle of George Square, it was supposed to, and Churchill had a massive hand in that as well.
Aye. Yeah.
He banked up the tanks out of sight, but put the barbed wire out and machine gun nests on that day because they thought there was going to be a Bolshevik rebellion. They didn't. All they wanted was to have
just fairness, isn't it?
They just wanted to have. They were on a war footing and they'd seen it out 57 hours a day, all the way through the war. They wanted it released. They just wanted the provost to send their petition to the government to have it released to 40 hours a day, to give their comrades that were coming back from the war a decent opportunity of getting work at a time when there was no work because it was all war work. And ended up in arrests and batting charges.
You're brave to take on the establishment. I think that's the thing. That's always what.
Well, they were brave. They took on the trenches for goodness sake. So that's where we are. We're in Glasgow. It's difficult to come to Glasgow without actually thinking politically.
No, that's true.
So good luck with that. I'm sure that's going to go down the storm with the Glasgow folk this afternoon. We'll come along and see the gig this afternoon as well. Malcolm, apart from being here, and we thank them for doing that, you will be on Celtic Music Radio. Do you know what time you're going to be?
sometime between 5 and 7.
Yeah,
I haven't had an exact date.
It's the Danny Cowell stage, which is the kind of the kind of foot in the door stage for Celtic Connections. Your support would be very much appreciated. Send comments and like everything that's going on around Malcolm's appearance on that stage, because there is a possible prize.
Yeah, it would be.
They do.
It's obviously nice, but I'm definitely not.
You'll get a gig out of it. There you are. Yeah. I'm fingers crossed, but I'm going to say that you're going to get a gig next year.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Anyway, haste you back. That's all we say. We'll see you in the summer.
Aye.
I'm sure.
Yeah, no.
Oh, tour dates. Have you got them yet?
I've got some. I haven't got many.
Any in Scotland?
Things are just. I do. I'm just waiting for I's to be dotted and T's to be crossed. Right. So things are in my diary, but I can't confirm them until I know exactly.
Folks, keep in touch on Facebook and MalcolmMacWatt.com. Is that simple?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Aye. Please do that, guys. Thanks again, Malcolm. Thanks.
No worries.
I'll share this around a good bit as well. It's nice to have you here. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. As I was saying, there is an exclusive track for Patreon members. It only costs a couple of dollars to free up that track. So that couple of dollars really helps me. If you want to help me even more by buying me a cup of coffee. Sometimes I even spend it on coffee. I did this morning. But if you would, that helps me tank the moose up, gas the moose up, and we are heading to Newcastle next from here. So still got 2 or 3 gigs. We're off to the Mardi Gras tonight at the wonderful Drygate Brewery. So there'll be a report from the festival here. If you want to keep up with those reports, best place to do it is at the YouTube channel, and you can do that through the website. That's where everything is archived. If you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you will get a notification every time IMTV goes on air. And thanks again for joining us, guys. Cheerio.